Welcome to Guatemala. From towering volcanoes and deep crater lakes to vibrant cities alive with color and culture, this is a country made for explorers. Guatemala is our first country in Central America and the fourth overall on our way south via the PanAmerican highway. A country that, to be honest, we didn't know much about. After nearly 6 months of traveling the varied and vibrant landscapes of Mexico, you'd think we would have been prepared for whatever this country could throw our way. But Guatemala was about to blow our minds.
Oh,
It's very small.
whoa. Oh. Oh. So today is the day, crossing into Guatemala. Heather's organized the truck. We're popping down right now. Got about an hour and a half drive until the border. Fingers crossed it goes smoothly. Awesome campsite for our last night in Mexico, right next to this cenote. Quiet, peaceful, good night's sleep. Ready for more adventure. Bruce has all of his paperwork done and he's ready to go. Excited, Bruce? A new country for all of us. Last couple miles in Mexico.
Couldn't leave without at least a few more surprise topes.
It's always when they're in the shadow of a tree, that's when you miss them. That's when you have no idea and you're hit them at full speed.
Oh, they're calling them vibradores now. Oh, a new word for topes.
Sometimes it's topes, sometimes it's reductors, and now it's vibradores.
Vibradores.
I think that one's my favorite so far. We've heard that Guatemala has less topes than Mexico, and while I'm gonna miss Mexico tremendously, if that's the case, I will not miss the topes. But we'll see. Maybe Guatemala has just as many.
Got our passports stamped out.
Got the tip closed out. So now we are countryless.
Yeah, we're officially out of Mexico. I mean, we're still physically in Mexico, but we no longer have visas.
Yeah.
So we gotta go. Having only ever crossed the borders between the United States and Canada and Mexico, we were accustomed to the very official and what I'd describe as almost clinical setting of a border. But here, the vendors and markets of Mexico and Guatemala bleed into each other. The land is not divided by walls or fences, and the only way to know that you've crossed into a new country is by looking to see which flag is proudly hanging from the building in front of you. The chaos was admittedly a little intimidating, but the friendly locals and border agents helped us newbies, and we were officially on our way to exploring our fourth country. We did it! We are in Guatemala! Woo! Took exactly 2 hours from start to finish to get all of our paperwork. Definitely felt chaotic, but overall pretty smooth. And now we're in Guatemala and we need to find gas and groceries and then try and get to this campsite that we have planned, which they say is almost 4 hours away. We'll see if that's true or not.
It's only 130 kilometers away, but it's almost 4 hours away.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty windy road, and we'll see what conditions the roads are in. So our hope is that we get to camp before dark. It would really not be great to be pulling into camp our first night in a new country in the dark, but We are actually on the PanAmerican highway.
We found it. It exists. It's a real highway, people. Now let's get off it.
Yeah, let's get off this highway. Find the real adventure.
Totally.
We were immediately thrust into the narrow and busy streets of the border town, but quickly turned off onto slow and winding country roads. And our drive turned out to be much longer than estimated. Now, normally we would have given ourselves a bit of a buffer to find an easy camp close to the border to guarantee that we wouldn't have to drive after dark. However, we had big plans for our first full day in this country, and we weren't about to let a long drive scare us away from making them happen. I think we've been going uphill ever since we entered Guatemala.
Seriously, I like it. We're at almost 9,000 feet right now.
So even though the light had faded by the time we climbed our way up to our intended campsite, the incredibly steep and switchbacking route we took to get there gave us a hint at what we might wake up to the next morning. After a night sleeping at nearly 12,000 feet, we woke to find ourselves alone on the edge of a volcano. The clouds had lifted and the trailhead was just around the corner, so on our very first morning in Guatemala, we had a mountain to climb.
Getting moving. It is steep right off the bat, and a little bit later start than we were hoping, but it's sunny, at least right now, so hopefully we can get up and get down quickly. Beautiful view right away.
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't get any higher than this and the clouds roll in, this view just paid for itself already.
Yeah, that's amazing.
At 13,845 feet, Volcan Tajumulco is the tallest mountain in all of Central America. And you'd think this claim to fame would make the volcano a big tourist attraction. But the remote location and relative difficulty of accessing the trails means it's less frequented than other places in Guatemala. Though the trail was challenging from the start, and we did in fact lose our views to the clouds within minutes, we were about to see that our day was significantly easier than those that we were sharing the trail with. Rounding a corner, we were suddenly surrounded by dozens of dirt bikes slowly making their way up the technical hiking trail, mostly being pushed or dragged up the mountain by the sheer will of the riders. Every single person we passed gave us big smiles and asked about our travels, and we found ourselves lingering with the group for a bit too long. The wind was picking up and the clouds were becoming even more dense. A few hundred vertical feet from the summit, the group finally reached a point that the bikes could no longer pass, and we continued on without them.
It's gotten a bit foggy, but all these Guatemalans we've been meeting coming up have been super friendly. They all say, "Con cuidado," though. So we're trying to figure out if they mean like, be careful, you probably shouldn't be going up at this hour, or if they're just being friendly, like, you know, oh yeah, be careful, like, you know, buenos dias. So if you know, let us know. Yeah. Are they telling us we're making a mistake, or are they just being friendly?
We could say the same to them.
Yeah, right.
Considering the antics that are going on down there.
Some of them are riding 450 dirt bikes without helmets and in tennis shoes, so con cuidado right back at you. In a friendly way, of course.
Critters. We're almost there.
Yeah.
The landscape changed so drastically. It's like we're on the moon. It's like ashy
Yeah.
moon dust.
Yeah. Made it to the top.
We did it.
A bit windy up here and a bit cloudy, but still nice. It's not too cold.
Not terrible.
It's like probably high 40s.
Yeah, but the breeze definitely makes it chilly.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've worn a puffy jacket in like, I don't know, 6 months. Since before we got to Mexico. We're at the highest point in Central America.
Woo!
On our first day in Central America.
Heck yeah.
Not a shabby record.
Can only go down from here.
Wait a minute. We're not at the highest point in Central America.
Don't fall off the rock. This is the highest woman in Central America right now.
We may not have had any views from the peak, but we were still riding the high of this climb. We had been in this country for less than 24 hours, and Guatemala was already smashing through any expectations we had.
Over this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. Not too shabby.
It's stunning. This is amazing. What a cool place. Woo!
Woohoo! That was awesome.
Yeah, good hike.
Yeah.
Getting back to the truck after this hike, we quickly packed up and started our descent, hoping to put a few hours of driving in before dark. We were already off to an incredible start in this country, and Guatemala still had so much more in store for us. Like many countries, Guatemala is a land of contrast. And we were about to experience one of those major contrasts on our drive that evening. Emerging from the remote region around Volcan Tajumulco, we quickly found ourselves back in civilization. And not just any civilization, but one of Guatemala's largest cities. And we timed it perfectly for rush hour.
Gridlock, baby.
We've been in traffic for 40 minutes now in this city, second biggest city in Guatemala.
Don't ask us to pronounce it.
Yeah, put it on the screen right here.
There's a countdown for this red light. It started at 90, and we were here for like 2 minutes before the 90 started counting down. It's the longest light we've ever sat at.
It's like 5 minutes of just sitting.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year!
Knowing we definitely wouldn't make it to our planned destination by dark, we researched a potential spot to camp in the city. Luckily, we were able to get in contact with a local restaurant owner who allows overlanders to park in his backyard, offering a safe and secure spot to rest in the city limits.
Heather's having a conversation. This guy wants us to park over on this area that's very sloped, and we will not be able to sleep. She's trying to explain to him that we won't be able to sleep. He's trying to tell her, you need to park there anyway. So I don't know.
I think we're good. Well, he was like telling me like, oh, this is a restaurant. And I was like, yeah, Jorge told us that we could camp here. And he never said, oh, I'm Jorge. But Jorge said he was waiting for us. So I'm guessing that's...
Is that Jorge or
I
not?
don't know. And then he's like, this is a restaurant and a house, like Habitacion. And I was like, okay, cierto? Like, I was thinking like, it's a restaurant because it's dark in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem open.
No.
And like, we're really blocking these cars, but also...
Yeah.
I said like for dormir.
Yeah.
To, like,
Yeah,
sleep.
Totally. I saw you pantomiming it.
Yeah, and he was like, okay. So I think.
Okay. Well, he's going inside now, so maybe he's gonna go get someone else.
Okay.
Maybe he's gonna go get the real Jorge.
I just don't want to be a jerk, but I'm also like, that's a beautiful spot to camp over there. I think he was saying the ground is too fragile there. Like he doesn't want us near the house.
Well, it might be like the scenario of the the groundskeeper versus the owner.
That view is amazing, and there's
I know, that
pictures
view
of
is
people
sweet.
sleep. Like that's where all the campers, like in the review on iOverlander, that's where people are parked.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's the view. Nice view. Look at that volcano.
let's just wait to pop up.
Yeah, let's just hang out for a minute.
After a little bit of miscommunication due to our limited Spanish, the actual Jorge eventually arrived, and we did in fact get to park on the grass with the beautiful view of the volcanoes. Just in time for an epic sunset and distant lightning show. Now, parking in a city isn't exactly our first choice for a camp spot, but leave it to Guatemala to put on a nature show, even in the middle of a densely packed urban area. Less than 36 hours in, and damn, this country is already making an impression. Wow, this is so cool. Yeah, it's just constant. Since this city was just a stopping point on our way to our actual intended camp spot for the week, we woke early on Sunday morning and started the roughly 2-hour drive east. Approaching Lake Atitlan, we were suddenly hit with views that rival any we've seen on this journey. Though one of the most well-known and therefore most visited spots in Guatemala, Lake Atitlan's popularity is well-deserved. Widely regarded as one of the most beautiful lakes in the world, it was formed thousands of years ago by a massive volcanic eruption that created a large crater. Over time, this crater filled with water, resulting in a lake over 1,000 feet deep. Not only is the lake itself stunning, but the 3 surrounding volcanoes create a majestic backdrop to frame the views from any angle. We were about to spend a week perched on the shores of the lake. Now that Dana has taken on more remote work, our days are a little bit more structured. Monday through Thursday, we try to stay in one place, making sure we have good views of the sky for our solar and internet, and ideally finding a relatively quiet spot to take Zoom meetings and focus on work. So this spot outside the town of Panajachel ticked all of those boxes. At least it did at first. Somehow we had managed to camp in the very place that a local high school marching band came to practice for several hours on multiple days that week. Let's just say that many months later, these songs are still playing on a loop in our heads. After an entertaining but less than peaceful week of work, It was finally time to explore the area. Several villages sit on the shores of Lake Atitlan, and the most efficient way to visit them is by boat.
Okay. Okay. So we survived the boat ride. A little stressful with the dog. He did not enjoy it. But now we're here in San Juan. It's very vibrant.
Even though this town sees hundreds of thousands of visitors each year, the actual population of San Juan is still majority indigenous. The village has worked hard to maintain its cultural authenticity compared to other nearby communities, and you can feel this as you walk the narrow streets. The local art and murals make it feel like you're in one giant open-air art gallery, and there's color exploding from every corner. Though tourism is a major source of income for those who live here, many still participate in traditional farming practices of the two most common crops, corn and coffee. And you didn't think we'd spend time in Guatemala without getting to know our favorite morning beverage, did you? El Tata is a family-run coffee co-op where they focus on sustainable organic growing methods and traditional roasting practices of their ancestors. They produce small batches of incredible coffee that's sold locally, and they also offer tours of their property and even run a Spanish immersion school on site. Maria spent over an hour with us, walking us through the coffee plants, explaining their life cycle and growing patterns, and then showing us how the families at El Tata harvest and eventually process the fruits.
The shelf, which is the red peel,
Right.
and receiving here, there, or over there the coffee bean that each coffee has.
Okay.
Oh.
Once the coffee dry, you can take off the next peel.
Whoa. Huh.
So it's easy to smash the coffee.
Yeah.
And by smashing, coffee start to take off the husk. And at the end, we will receive
Whoa.
Oh wow.
We even got to try grinding our own beans on the stone that's been in her family for hundreds of years.
Bruce is so proud of you. Doing a good job. Bruce?
It's a good workout for your forearm.
Yeah.
Always wanted to pick my own banana. Breakfast for tomorrow. So yesterday we went out on the big boats. Today we're going out on the little boats for the first time in way too long, honestly. Got the kayaks all set. Bruce is gonna put his life jacket on.
He's very excited.
Yeah, and we're gonna go out there. And supposedly there's like a little town somewhere over there that maybe we'll go explore, or who knows. No real plan.
Trying to pack for such a big trip like this is hard. Between Alaska and Argentina, there are an endless amount of different climates and landscapes and geographic wonders. And while we cover 16 or more countries in the course of 3-ish years, there are an infinite amount of adventures we'll find ourselves on. Adventures that require gear and safety equipment and accessories of all varieties. So when we initially packed these inflatable kayaks into our truck's second row of seats, they took up some seriously valuable space in our overlanding setup, and we wondered if it would be worth the sacrifice. But as we get further into this trip and see more of the world, we've found that being able to get not just next to the water, but out onto it, gives us a completely different perspective of a place we're visiting. Whether it be a crater lake, a glacial river, or a wide open ocean, we always end up feeling more connected to the water we're paddling in. So while sometimes we go months without putting air into these boats, when we do make the effort to pull them out and pump them up, it's always been worth the game of Tetris. Bruce switched spots. He's in the back of the boat now, which means I have lots of leg room.
This lake gets over 1,000 feet deep in certain spots, which is wild to think. I don't think it's 1,000 feet right now, but out in the middle there, because supposedly this was a super volcano back in the day that exploded and left a big crater. And then there's all these little volcanoes around us. Atitlan, pretty cool place.
I want to be as relaxed as this dog is on a boat.
Yeah.
Leaving Lake Atitlan, we remarked on just how much beauty and adventure Guatemala had already shown us in our first week in the country. But just as we were falling in love with the landscapes and food and people of this region, we found ourselves needing to say a temporary goodbye. Dana's sister was about to get married back in Colorado, and we had a flight out of Guatemala City to catch. Needing a safe place to store our truck and someone to take care of Bruce while we were gone for a few weeks, we headed towards a small town outside the city that had a great option for both of our most prized possessions. Sally the truck would be left at Overland Centro, the home of an incredibly kind family who offers camping, vehicle storage, and mechanical expertise at their home. They provided a secure place for us to keep the truck while we were gone, and it's a good thing they're so amazing because we ended up spending a lot more time with them than expected. But more on that in our next video. And Bruce? He would be staying at a boarding facility called Dogsville, a place that would take care of him like family. And with their gourmet dog food made fresh daily, we're pretty sure he was disappointed when we came to pick him up a few weeks later. So even though it was extremely stressful to leave those two behind for a bit, we knew that they were both in great hands. But if I'm being completely honest, this trip home also threw an emotional wrench in our travels. In the gorgeous Rocky Mountains, the leaves started to turn yellow, and there was a whisper of crisp autumn days in the air, our very favorite season in the West. Being in our most favorite places, with our most favorite people, somehow made us miss home even more. We had a few moments of wondering if we were doing the right thing by continuing our drive south. But these places and these people will all be here when we get back, and our trip is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So after an incredible visit, it was time to get back on the road, After all, we have some unfinished business in Guatemala. Putting our Pan-American trip on pause for a bit meant that we didn't have much time left to spend in Guatemala before continuing on our route south. And we knew we wanted to have at least one more big adventure in this country. Though Guatemala is home to nearly 40 volcanoes, these sister volcanoes, Acatenango and Fuego, may be the most notorious. Fuego is an active volcano that erupts almost constantly, and Acatenango sits quietly dormant next to her. Hiking up Acatenango allows for incredible views of the eruptions next door, but the ability to see them depends heavily on the weather. And lately, the weather had been quite unpredictable. Luckily, from where we camped at Overland Centro, we had distant views of these two peaks, which meant we could keep an eye on the weather and attempt to choose a day with increased visibility. When we woke one morning and saw a promising weather window, we wasted no time in prepping for the trail. Most people who climb Acatenango hire a local guiding company. There are several to choose from, and they all have small huts that they maintain on the mountainside. Going with an outfitter doesn't make the hike any less steep or challenging, but it does mean you'll have a lighter pack and that you aren't responsible for your own tent or sleeping bag, cooking supplies, or food. And if you're flying into Guatemala or don't own your own backpacking equipment, it definitely makes sense to go this route. Because this convenient option exists, few people actually backpack up here with their own gear. But because we do travel with all of our own supplies, and we have a lot of experience with backpacking in rough terrain, we chose to do this unguided. This also allowed us to bring Bruce, who probably wouldn't have been invited on a group trip. The hike itself is physically quite strenuous, but not technically risky or hard to navigate, so we felt confident in our decision to go alone.
Gonna go park and hopefully climb most of the way up Acatenango and camp up there tonight, and then stay up all night and hopefully see the volcano erupt if there's a clear moment and it actually erupts. It's been super active the last couple days. We've seen it erupt from afar, not at night, so we're kind of come to have this on our bucket list. We're really excited. Hopefully it goes. So we're gonna park at a pizzeria, I think, and our bags are already packed, so we'll just throw the bags on, make sure we've got the right camera gear, and start heading up as fast as we can. We're probably gonna be hiking in the dark a little bit, but that's all right.
It's not so much if it erupts, because I think it will. It's if we can see it erupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very active volcano. It very rarely is not erupting regularly. It seems like at least once an hour. There's a live webcam, and last night it was erupting at least once an hour, if not more frequently. And it was super clear. So we're kind of like, oh man, I wish we had been up there last night. But you know, today is a pretty good-looking day. It's cloudy up there right now, but it's definitely passing clouds. And for the most part, it seems like the clouds kind of clear up early morning hours, like 2, 3, 4 a.m. So we'll see how much sleep we get tonight. But the good news is that when we climb down in the morning, we've got our bed with us, so we can always take a nap.
We're leaving the truck here at Francisco's Pizzeria. It's very exciting.
Yeah, stretch it out.
Gotta get ready. Making you work.
Well, it's bear bell on it from Alaska.
You look so thrilled.
You will be once we get moving.
Got everything?
I think so.
Okay.
Hopefully. I feel overpacked for one night, but we had to bring a lot of water.
Yeah.
We're on the trail! Woo. It's immediately very steep.
Yeah.
I'm sure this doesn't do it justice, but we're going straight up.
It's already gray, getting cloudy, so we're probably going to get rained on in addition to having to walk in the dark. So that's going to be fun. But we think we are hearing eruptions right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like thunder, but it's like loud booming, but not thunder.
Yeah.
So.
Not the same consistency as thunder. It's like a, I don't know, loud and then like a grumble after that. So we imagine it's Fuego doing its thing. Hopefully we get to see it later.
Yeah. All right, shall we?
Yeah. Let's go. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. I think we might have a friend. Hiking companion. Now, Bruce, don't scare her off. Flower tunnel.
Did you sleep here?
Yeah, we could.
Pretty nice view.
So there's this dog that's been following us, and we gave her some kibble so that she might continue because she's very nice. We've nicknamed her Susie. And whenever there's really steep sections, she goes off the trail and we're like, oh, okay, bye Susie, that's all you're gonna go. And then 5 minutes later, she just pops out of the brush somewhere. So she's got her own little trails that she takes. She's very sweet. And Bruce seems to like her, so. Bruce, where's Susie? Susie!
It's crazy that they farm this.
I know. Like someone comes up here and plants all this corn, and then someone comes up here, harvests all the corn, and brings it back down.
Wild.
Yeah. Where should we go? Somewhere high.
Yeah, you're tall. Get it way up there.
Yeah, that is how we go.
Nice. Oh, we're not quite at that yet. The Y is coming where we need to stay right.
So it's raining, but we're in such thick canopy that I haven't actually felt any drops yet. I'm just hearing it hit the branches and the leaves and occasionally see a drop or two. So it stays like this, that'd be perfect. We wouldn't get so wet. Putting up a tent in the rain, doable. Not our favorite thing to do. Did it a lot on the Alaska portion of this trip because it rained all summer while we were there. But it's always nicer to go to bed with a perfectly dry sleeping bag.
Yes, we are at the Y.
Okay.
So we're gonna go right, and then we'll come to another Y, and we'll go right again.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So like an hour ago, Susie went into the woods, and we never saw her again until an hour later. Here's Susie.
Susie! Hi! Oh, look at that smile! Oh!
Oh my god, I love this dog. And Bruce is tolerating her just fine, so if she didn't look so healthy and happy and like she really belongs on this mountain, we might have to take her.
Steal some kid's dog.
Yeah. She belongs to Acatenango.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it's only 4:30. We still have 2 hours of sunlight. But it looks like the sun's setting right now because of how thick everything is, both the clouds and the trees. It's pretty eerie, huh? Cue creepy music.
Spooky.
Oh, and some creature comes out of the mist.
She's back.
And it's Susie again! Hi, Susie. So along with Susie, we now have another dog that's joined our pack behind Heather. For dog lovers, this is a great hike. It seems like we're starting to get above the clouds.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, you might get a sunset.
Yeah. We might see Fuego after all. Who knows? Trail's actually flattened out a bit as we kind of go around the mountain, around Acatenango, to the side that looks at Fuego. So thankfully it's a little bit less steep right now, which is very appreciated because, man, it was steep. Susie, Rosalinda, Bruce, and Heather. Our pack is growing. I didn't think we were going to get any sort of sunset, but that's not too shabby.
That's beautiful.
Really pretty. Man, that is stunning.
That ridgeline is crazy.
Darkness started to creep in at the same time that the clouds were lifting around us, and we felt optimistic for the first time all day that we might eventually be rewarded with views of Fuego from camp.
All right, it's headlamp time.
We knew it was going to happen, so we put them right at the top.
Yeah, they're in that green bag.
It's actually not cold at all, but it's humid enough that you can see my breath. Hopefully we'll get a view soon and maybe it'll be going off. It definitely has cleared up a little bit already. It's still some cloud cover way up high, but we're not walking through a cloud anymore.
After hours of hiking and with just a few hundred meters to climb until our camp spot, we rounded a corner and suddenly had a view of Fuego. And at that exact moment, it erupted in front of us.
What? Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, I can't believe we just saw that.
Did you see the initial burst?
Yeah.
I just saw like red out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
And people shriek, and I was like, oh my god, something's happening. Oh my god.
The whole hike up, we had been questioning whether we chose the right night to do this. But here was our confirmation, and it was just the beginning. We quickly hiked the last steps into camp and immediately started setting up our tent and heating up water for dinner, never knowing when Fuego might erupt again. But erupt she would, over and over and over, all night long, each time just as exciting as the first.
Wow.
That's a good one. Oh, look at it explode as it rocks. Oh. Here, corners. I believe that this is my zipper here. So this is this corner.
Oh, it just went off again.
Holy shit. It's still going. Little one this time. Oh no, it's working up. It's like a firework. Holy.
Oh.
Oh, it's very not too small.
Whoa.
Oh.
Oh. Wow.
I just can't believe this is real. Here it goes again.
Hell yeah. Oh. Wow.
They really, every single one is so different.
Yeah.
That one completely went to the right.
Yeah. This beats fireworks for sure.
Oh my god. I didn't realize that they were in the same running. Volcano versus fireworks. I think I'd rather see this once in my life and never ever see fireworks.
Each eruption was different. Some sounded like the low grumble of thunder, while others created their own sonic boom. Some spewed debris high into the sky, and others just gently bubbled and steamed for a few minutes. Even after such an exhausting hike, the near constant explosions of lava and rock kept us awake for hours. We couldn't bear to stop watching and go to sleep. How do you close your eyes when magic is happening just on the other side of the tent fly? When the real world is more fantastic than your wildest dreams.
The focusing. Whoa. Wow.
Oh, the runoff. It's a lava lanch.
Wow. Listen to it.
I'm just so glad we did this.
Yeah.
Eventually, we did doze off for a few hours, but not for too long because sunrise brought even more beauty.
Wow.
Wiping the sleep from our eyes and shivering in the early morning air, we woke to find an even more stunning view of not only Fuego, but of the entire landscape of Guatemala beneath us. Not many things in life could rival this experience. We will carry these moments with us for the rest of our lives. And this is why we are on this trip. The reminder came just when we needed it the most. We will continue to feel homesick some days. We will grapple with guilt and sadness and a nagging feeling that maybe we should be somewhere else. We'll think about how all of our friends might be having fun without us somewhere very far away. But we'll also continue to find beauty in far-off places. We'll keep our hearts and minds open so we can soak up as much of the world as possible. And we'll let these experiences change us in ways that we probably can't even imagine yet. Guatemala has given us an incredible gift. The gift of knowing that we're on the right path, chasing the right dreams, making the right sacrifices.
Not a bad way to wake up.
There's Rosa. She slept next to her tent all night.
You're ripping.
What's first, coffee or breakfast?
Breakfast because it's more important.
Yeah, I agree.
Just get calories in. The coffee doesn't even have caffeine because all we had was instant decaf. So.
We have caffeinated tea.
Yeah, we could do that. And what happens when we mix tea and coffee?
I have chai. That would actually be good. Everything else would be kind of gross.
Okay.
Breakfast time. Definitely not the worst view for breakfast we've ever had.
My spoon tastes like curry from last night. A little extra seasoning.
All right, all packed up. Ready to go?
I guess so. We should bring more food. We could sleep for a whole day here.
I know. If we had like camp chairs and food, and a book, I would just sit here all day.
Clouds are coming in.
The clouds are rolling in fast. Watermelon and coffee on the trail.
Heck yeah.
Don't get that in America.
No. Oh, it's good too. Really sweet.
4.4 miles into our descent, so maybe half a mile left.
If that. I think
that.
we're really close.
Cool. We're doing it, Bruce. It's been pretty slippery. Dana's crashed out a couple times. He gets going too fast and he loses his footing. But yeah, not too bad. Definitely recommend having poles for this hike.
For sure.
And actual hiking shoes, or at least trail runners, because we've seen a lot of people in like Vans and like Nike trainers, and they have no grip and they're all clearly struggling. So yeah, it's not a crazy technical hike, but I would definitely have good gear for this. Yeah. All right, onward. Driving away from Acatenango and Fuego, we felt like we had really made the most of our time in Guatemala. An incredible country with so much to see and explore. Home to the kindest people, the wildest geography, and endless opportunities for adventure. A place that we will leave part of ourselves in forever. Though we didn't necessarily want to leave yet, we had a timeline to stick to and knew that it was time to head south. However, unbeknownst to us, we were about to face some pretty big challenges before we were able to get on the road. But we're going to save that one for next time. So for now, thank you for watching, for liking and commenting and subscribing. Thank you to our Patreon members and to those who support us from near and far. We'll see you next time.